Go Ask Alice is a show intended for adult audiences, because adults want to learn too. Sometimes we cover sensitive material, so please take care of yourselves, and listener discretion is advised. Now on to the show.
Hello internet friends, and welcome back to another episode of Go Ask Alice, the show where we jump down random internet rabbit holes and bring you wonderful factoids from our adventures in Wiki Wonderland. I'm Sara, and I'm looking into how to train your llama course because I would like to buy one.
I'm Lindsay, and I just got a package.
Woo!
And I'm Gene, and I genuinely want world peace because the world is a horrible, horrible place.
Oh, give him a crown.
This is the show where we don't solve any of the world's problems, and instead we wander around Wikipedia in search for interesting facts and things that we just plainly did not know. We all start on the same wiki page every week. We wander around using hyperlinks within the article until we've stumbled upon something we cannot stop reading. Typically, this is 2 paragraphs or more, after which we are beholden to share it with each other and with all of you. This week, we started on jump rope or jumping rope or skipping rope. As it turns out, however we phrased it, the article redirected us, so it'll be interesting to see how far we wandered, because whatever I plugged in, Wiki did not have. Gene, we have thrown into the deep end, starting with baby steps, so Gene will be filling in.
To watch and observe.
Yeah.
Like a zoo.
Like a zoo.
I'm trying to paddle back to the shallows, but we'll see how it goes.
And to throw Gene in the deep end, we're going to start with question of the week, which is Gene's question. Pew, pew, pew. So, the question is, and it's one apparently that you use for students to get them thinking, is if somebody gives you $1 million right now and you've got to spend it within an hour, what do you do? And as Gene pointed out when we were talking, I was like, I'd buy a house. And he's like, you can't do that in an hour? And I'm like, God damn, you're right. So it's a bit tricky. So, Gene, what would you do?
You know, it's funny. I use this with my students all the time, and I have never sat down and thought about what I would actually do. No one's thrown it back in my face before, so I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't have time to prep. This sucks.
Do you have good answers from the students?
Oh my God. You know, it's funny. They're always like, I'd buy a house, and just like you. And I'm like, no, you wouldn't, because that's a long process. They'd say they'd give it to their parents. I'm like, no, but you have to spend it. You can't just give it to like someone who would just give it back to you later.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a while. Spoiler alert, I don't currently have a job. I'm looking for one.
So you would just use it for groceries.
I would buy all of Costco.
$1 million worth of groceries. Yes. Buy out a whole shop, right? Since I volunteer at a shelter, I think I would literally just donate all of it and not feel any shred of regret, because I just want to help. World peace.
Save all of the animals.
Very sweet. I like.
I'd rather give it away than stress over like what I'm going to buy for myself, you know?
Yeah, that's good.
What would you do, Lindsay?
I really think, I really tried to put myself in the mode of, okay, this just happened. You really just handed this to me. I think I would panic and I would call everybody I've ever known and pay off their debt.
Ooh, that's a good one.
At first I was like, oh, I'd pay off my own debt, but thanks to Biden and everything that's going to happen in the US with our student debt, so I actually won't have any student debt because of the loan forgiveness. So then I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll pay off my brother's debt then, or then my parents. It's like, okay, who's got a mortgage? Let's go. Let's wrap it all up.
Everyone would love you and they would owe you.
Maybe that's the way to bring it back, right? It's all, then I get it from them later.
Have some dollar bills.
Smart.
I would probably do, I don't know, ideally I would buy a giant block of land and start my own animal shelter, but I can't do that in an hour. So fair enough. So I'd probably give it away, maybe pay off my student loan, and then just the rest give to people I love and know, or give to people who just look like they need it.
Oh, you know what? Maybe we could also just buy a really nice gin to celebrate the fact that we had $1 million.
Really, a really nice bottle of wine.
Ooh, I don't drink alcohol, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. We could buy a really nice jump rope. Because that's all I can think about right now.
Good segue.
A golden jump rope. Where did you end up, Sara?
I ended up on social grooming. You know how animals groom themselves socially? That's
kitties.
where I ended up. Think monkeys. Oh, yeah, like kitties.
Oh, I thought this was going down like a dark path.
Me too.
with children in
Me too.
mind.
Okay, so to be fair, when I clicked on it, I forget what page I was on, but I saw the word social grooming. I'm like, oh my God, I bet that's what like online predators do. And I was pleasantly surprised. So,
Okay, good.
So you made everyone else experience that emotion too.
where did you end up?
I ended up on macaroni,
Macaroni.
and it's not what you think.
Not what you think?
Nope.
Oh, like the dance? No, that's the Macarena. Not the macaroni. Oh, macaroni.
That's not the Macarena, Sarah. It sounds like nobody's gonna guess.
I think you should go first because I can't sit through not knowing what it is. Like macaroni, the food?
It's not like the food.
What else is
Literally,
there?
what other?
What is it? Okay, dive in.
We played 20 questions. Is this a time or place for it?
Is it an object?
Okay, I'm very glad that Jean is here because Sarah, I'm gonna ask you a question, and if you can't answer, I'm gonna make Jean answer it. Do you know the song Yankee Doodle?
Yeah, I can't sing it, but I know of it.
I'll sing parts of it and you jump in with the word. Like I'm gonna leave a blank and you say what comes next if you know the words.
Okay.
Okay. Yankee Doodle went to
School? Farm? Town. He went to town.
school.
Oh,
Is it school?
We don't know.
No, it's town.
We're both technically from other countries. We were not born in the United States. Wait, were you, Sarah?
No.
No, I was born in Russia.
I'm Australian.
I didn't know you were born in Russia.
We don't know these things. We don't know your American culture.
Riding on a
A horse? I know that doesn't rime with anything.
pony.
Pony. Oh yes, pony.
Oh,
Got
yeah,
it.
pony. Yeah.
Stuck a feather in his
Leather?
cap. Hat is close enough.
Cap, okay.
Cat, pap, whatever, same thing.
And called it
Macaroni.
macaroni.
What the? Why have I never
That's how
questioned
it
this
goes?
before?
That's the song. Those are the lyrics to Yankee Doodle. And the whole time when I was a kid, I thought that just meant he was being silly. And here's just a silly word, macaroni.
I didn't even think about
Is
it.
it not?
It means something very specific.
Okay.
I can't wait to find out.
Is it a fashion thing?
It actually, Sarah, a fashion thing is a good way to summarize it. To get here, so for anybody who doesn't know, the song the little ditty that we just all workshopped together is from about the mid 1700s, around the time of the American Revolution, which is why it is such an American tune that I butchered. So sorry, country. But it is actually slang from the 1750s. That is why it ended up in the song. The next lines are something to the tune of like, Yankee Doodle, keep it up, Yankee Doodle dandy.
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
Okay. So a dandy is kind of not really, it's not a great word. If somebody calls you a dandy, they're probably trying to hurt your feelings, or, it's kind of a pejorative term.
But like fine and dandy.
Yeah, no, dandy can be used in a positive way to mean that everything is good and positive. But if somebody calls you a dandy, they typically mean that you are weak and effeminate. And it's like that kind of stereotype.
I was gonna say flamboyant, right?
Oh.
Flamboyant, yes. The easiest way for us in modern times,
I'm guessing it's very homophobic from back in the day because...
that is the modern way to understand what a macaroni is, but it's not necessarily like a slur or something like, that negative. It's just, it had the same weight as when we say hipster. So if we say, oh my God, that person's such a hipster, like we don't mean that in a good way, but it also refers to a way of dressing, a style of life, that sort of a thing. So somebody who was a macaroni wore a lot of high-end clothing and had a very meticulous eating sort of habit. They would be very, very detail-oriented and very snobbish.
That is so specific.
Why does this feel like the Kardashians? Are they macaronis? The Kardashians feel like this. Like, you never see them eat and they wear very expensive things.
I was thinking of hipsters in the way that hipsters are very exclusive. Like, oh, you've never heard of this song before. Oh, I dress like only in vintage clothing that nobody could ever find again. I am so singular and cool. But I actually think that you could apply that same exclusivity to the Kardashians, right? It's like these are really expensive clothes. My hair is done by a professional designer. Because it's kind of like the quote that I stole from the wiki article is that that macaronis exceeded the bounds of ordinary fashion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it sounds very hipster or very kind of elitist.
Perfectly the word. Yes. And in fact, even historians have trouble being like, were they just queer or were they just really high class? And kind of the negativity of the time is like, is this class awareness or is this homophobia? It's actually kind of difficult to disentangle. I want to hope that it was something a little bit nicer, but it was probably mean.
I kind of love that though, because you can't make the distinction. So it's like you can just throw it out there at whoever fits the mold, regardless of what the truth is. Right?
Absolutely.
So in that sense, it doesn't need to be like so negative. You're more making a observation of like.
But this is why I come back to hipster as an example, because somebody can dress like a hipster and hipsters very well put together, right? Like they accessorize.
Yes.
Hipsters aren't always like the grimy kind of, some stereotypes I guess are, but you can have like the hipster who's like, you know, the film nerd who's just really into like French foreign films and wears a scarf all the time and those weird square looking hats and whatever. They are, you know, high class. Like they have high class hobbies. They have high class ways that they dress.
Fedora.
It's elitist.
And it's not a bad thing. It's just, it is what it is. And you're jealous. Deal with it.
Cope.
Yeah. I feel like when was this, the 1700s?
Yeah, 1750s-ish.
I feel like high class society was inherently a little bit camp because it was so very status orientated.
That's camp. No, you're absolutely.
You look back at all of the fancy portraits and you're like, that's fabulous.
Yes.
That's so camp. And it's amazing, but they had no idea.
Well, so that's exactly the thing, is that the stereotype of a person who was macaroni, what that look was the over-the-top crazy powdered wigs with like all of the curls.
I was just about to say. Yes. Yes, I was like, are these like the guys who wore like powder and blush and put on that like little fake mole with the big curly
the
wigs?
Little beauty dot.
Yes.
Yes.
And one of my favorite things that I learned from looking at this was that they also wore hats that would go so high up on their powdered wigs that were so hard to position that you had to use the tip of a sword to get it up there.
Hell yes.
Like their arms.
We need to bring this back.
And I love from the Yankee Doodle, the little feather in the hat, because I'm just getting pimp vibes of a big hat with a big feather.
I'm so glad you brought it back to this, because that song is a satire.
Okay.
And it's meant to make fun of the Americans who, in general, it's supposed to like dual purpose make fun of macaroni and people who were trying to be posh, because the idea was that just putting a feather in your hat does not make you posh, does not make you high class, but you're gonna act like you are. You're gonna act like hot shit.
This is the same as like when you see people buy like the very printed designer, like a Louis Vuitton bag that is so obnoxiously there for the branding, and it's like, well, that doesn't make you rich or high class or whatever it is. You've suck it into the brand. You've suck it into pretending. You know, it's like a badge. Like you can't just slap it on.
And it ends up having the opposite effect. It's like you are clearly trying to be that so much that you actually look worse. Wait, what'd you say, Jean?
I was just saying, oh no.
Oh, I thought you were saying, oh no, and then you were going to follow it up with, I do that with a Louis Vuitton bag.
No, God, I hate Louis Vuittons. Disgusting. I am not a macaroni, unfortunately.
I refuse to be a macaroni. But I've been listening to like some like psychological standpoints with this idea of we're obviously living in capitalistic hell. Like the 21st century is real shit. We should go back in time or forward in time. I don't care, just not now. But this idea of like the online influencers and that everybody's just capitalizing, buying so much random crap to make themselves look like they have the life or the belongings. And there was a psychologist who's like, well, it's just setting people up for failure, because you can look like you have money, but if you're spending your money to look like you have money, you have no money. And it's fucking you over in the long run. I think that's fascinating. I think it's really interesting because you never see super wealthy, like you probably wouldn't know what a super wealthy person looks like because they won't be covered in head to toe brand labels. They would probably prefer something that's good quality.
It's not a trope so much, but like you hear like these rich people say like, I didn't get rich by spending money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they wear like Levi jeans and whatever, and you don't ever think they're rich by looking at them. Like, not to judge a book by its cover, but like a lot of rich people will not flaunt it, and they say that's why I'm rich, because I don't spend my money on all this like superfluous garbage that's gonna try to convince other people I'm rich, because I don't care about other people. I care about my life.
Right, you already know you're rich.
Right. Why do I need to prove that to others I don't care about?
The Louis Vuitton bag, for an example, so like it's a few $1,000 bag, right? But if you were to stick that in an investment account for 5-10 years,
Yes,
an exceedingly more amount of money that is going to do you better.
It's kind of like how people never change, because the origin of macaroni like is actually because high class men, when they would come of age, this was mostly in the UK, they would travel the European continent and go to Italy. And so it's kind of like their study abroad sort of a thing. And in Italy,
Oh, their year abroad.
yeah, they would, come, how like, people nowadays, they come back from being abroad and they're all pretentious about it. Like they're so cultured and worldly.
Oh
That's
my God, yes.
That's where the
Yes.
humor or the satire comes in. They would call them macaroni because, young men would eat macaroni over in Italy and then come back and act like they're hot shit. So that they would be like, oh, this fucking macaroni over here.
Wait, that's like the meaning behind it?
That
That's
is
like kind of
literally the
of it?
origin of the
Is
word,
what you're
yes.
saying? That's amazing.
Wow, because they ate macaroni.
Yeah, so now
That's amazing.
Wait, real quick. So if you were to refer to multiple people as macaroni, would it be macaroni or macaronis? Here are the real questions.
Is it a group of macaroni?
macaroni sounds right, but I kind of like how silly it sounds to say macaronis. Oh, a bunch of fucking macaronis.
Macaronis?
Yes. I don't know, because I don't know how to pluralize it in Italian.
Well, we can go with macaronis. You know I'm going to start using this now, right?
Good. Yeah, I hope you're stuck in traffic and you're like,
What a bunch
fucking
of
macaronis.
macaronis.
In their Teslas, they think they're better than me. Bring it back. Bring it all back, including the fancy little hats
Including, don't forget.
that you need to put on your head with a sword.
Don't forget to bring back the hat.
I love that all throughout history, there's always been people who look at the snooty and go, oh, you fuckwits.
Can't stand this kid.
All through history.
And then, yeah. Yeah, so they were making fun of the Americans, but then the Americans liked it, so they kept it.
That is so good. Feels very like Keeping Up with the Joneses, which I think is very American. Like you gotta have what your neighbor has to blend
But also,
in.
like, that is, like, also absolutely British. I mean, it's, like, the best example is that, like, everybody wants to be the queen or the king or have their favor. Like, that kind of, idol worship sort of. I almost think it's human nature, but I'm clearly biased because I come from one of the guilty countries.
It could very well be human nature. We are bizarre. Maybe speaking of nature, we can swap over to social grooming.
Oh, yeah. How do we do that?
Boo, boo, boo. Social grooming, I think, is quite fascinating. If you picture it, do you picture like little monkeys like picking each other for, nits and lice and just having a really nice time?
That's immediately what I thought of. Yeah.
So it's that, and it happens across a heap of different animals. And my favorite part about it is, in most cases, it's this form of altruism, or this form of like, you scratch my back, I scratch your back. Like we're all gonna help each other out. And not only that, it's just bloody adorable. It's so cute when you see animals do this. I've got to define like a definition for it, just in case anyone's not aware of what it is. So social grooming is a behavior in which social animals, including humans, clean or maintain each other's body or appearance. So in the idea of humans, you can kind of think about this like with your young humans who, you know, don't really know how to take care of themselves yet. Like you'll brush their hair, you'll make sure they're clean, you know, you'll do that to benefit them, that type of thing.
Useless babies.
Oh, pardon, Jean?
I'm sorry, I was just saying human babies are useless. Utterly useless.
It's true, though. They're pretty dumb.
I forgot Lindsay's fear of pregnant people.
Oh my god, me too, Lindsay. No, repulsive. I'm sorry for anyone who's pregnant and listening, but just no,
It's
don't.
just so freaky. I want to say unnatural, but I know that that's not right.
You know, I always tell pregnant women, like, up front, I'm like, I'm sorry, I know this is probably offensive to you, but, like, I think pregnancies are disgusting. And
Can't just say that to their face.
No, I do. And I have never gotten a bad reaction. For the most part, they're like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I get
And I'm
it.
like, oh, okay.
You're just like, hey.
I still have to apologize.
You're
though.
like, oh, I just want you to know I hate everything you've done with your life. That's what you do. You just... Oh my god,
It's
dude.
gross. And the belly button that sticks out is the worst part. Okay, moving on. Sorry, Sarah. Sorry.
Oh my god, we're sidetracking, we're coming back. So grooming is a major social activity by which animals who live in close proximity to each other will bond and reinforce their social structures, or family links or different relationships through this kind of social grooming. So it's also, I thought this was really cool, it's used as like a conflict resolution. So if you're having a little bit of a disagreement between you and a mate, you might just sit down and pick ticks off each other's back and calm down a little bit, and your conflict will kind of dissolve, and it's like a way to show that you're not going to kill each other. You're gonna, you know, you've disagreed, but you can get back to doing what you do, which I thought was really, really cute. Or it can even be used as like a reconciliation. So there has been a big fight, and then it's like, you know, you can imagine the monkey walking over and kind of apologizing by being like, I'm gonna help you. I'll get the fleas off your back, which is so
It's like a reminder, like, hey, I still love you. It was just a fight, you know, like, I'm over it.
Yeah.
It's all good. We value each other, right?
Yeah. It's like when you're an angry teenager and you like yell at your mom and then you're like, I'm sorry, and give her a little hug.
Sorry, I still love you.
Yeah, it's like coming back to tenderness or, you know, showing vulnerability. So much of arguing is like hardening, and, you know, fighting is like to shove each other out, and it's like a way to come back together. Or like I think of like in a movie when it's like, you know, the protagonists are arguing, and, you know, if like one of them's a woman and a man and whatever, and like the man like puts a lock of hair behind her ear or something like that, like, you know.
Oh yeah, like a little I still love
Yeah.
you, or like we're still good. There's a heap of different proposed mechanisms behind why social grooming behavior exists, but mainly why it actually helps increase the fitness of the overall group. So this can be from the mental health to the physical health of the group. And one that I thought was fascinating, one of the benefits was reduced disease transmission. And a similar thing to like how we have like an immune system. So to build up immunity, you need to be exposed to certain things to help build it up. So a similar thing. And it's also been shown to reduce stress levels in different animals as well. So it's all round just really, really wholesome, really sweet.
I love that.
One of the most one of the most crucial functions of social grooming is to establish kind of like a social network. So we have Facebook and Twitter. The monkeys, they have social grooming. So it's kind of, and I think we've chatted about this before, how gossip is, or maybe we haven't, but gossip's really important to human civilization in general. So this is this idea of social networking and the idea of gossiping, which is talking about something like an event or a person or whatever it might be, and the fact that healthy groups and communities have a healthy level of gossip. And back in the day, before, you know, way before the internet or traditional social medias existed, this is how you could kind of vibe out the situation. So were you hearing good reviews about, you know, this person who sold bread, or were you hearing that this man was treating women badly? And it was kind of how you built up your network to understand who was good, who was bad, what to trust and what not to trust.
So like gossip, not just like general social interaction, like,
yeah,
like did you hear this? Did you hear that?
Yeah, exactly. And so they think it might be a similar thing with these like grooming for social relationships, is you're kind of going to different, I was going to say people, they're not people, different animals in your group, and you're having that bonding time with them, which I just thought was really, really fascinating. In primates especially, so these are like our monkeys, grooming is known to have major social significance, and it basically controls like the whole function and formation of the friendships within the group. If you've got lots of tensions, lots of like hostility, there won't be as much grooming going on, or you can kind of pick it from their behaviors. There was this study on this subspecies of macaques that showed in MRI scans that their brains lit up more significantly in the peripheral cortex, which is associated with recognition and memory, and the temporal pole, which is associated with social and emotional processing, when the monkeys were shown pictures of their friends. So they had the monkeys interact in a social grouping, they had them do their social grooming, so they made friendships, they kind of, figured out who each other was, and then they put them under this experiment, and they showed them pictures of the monkeys they'd been hanging out with and then random monkeys that they had never met. And just like humans do, their different brain parts are both memory and also like where they attribute like happiness kind of like lit up. They were so excited. They saw their friends, and so this grooming had built up like whatever relationship they had to a point where in their brain they were recognizing their friends and they had positive.
Sweet babies.
What do you think monkey drama? What, Gene?
I was just saying sweet babies. This is the kind of stuff where I'm like, when people are like, oh, they're just dumb animals, they don't like feel it or think anything, I'm like, you shut up. I hate you. Animals are better than you are. Shut up.
Exactly. They're so much better than we are.
I want to know what monkey drama's like. Like, why do they not like some monkeys but like others? Like, I don't know. What's morally?
I'm sure there's good monkey drama. I reckon it's all around mating.
I mean, that's probably true. I mean, even that, I was going to say, you could probably make a direct correlation with like human drama. It's probably like a bunch of petty bullshit. But now that you say mating, I'm like, what is half the drama people go through with in our like circles? It's like, who's cheating on who? And like, that's like the biggest gossip there is. Like, did you see Kim Kardashian and Kanye West? Oh my God. So it's like, oh my God, I wonder if there's celebrity monkeys.
Oh my
And
God.
we just don't know.
Oh my God, I love thinking about this. That monkey is so macaroni.
Celebrity monkey.
So is it just monkeys?
No. So there's lots of other creatures, some much smaller, some much bigger. So I've listed some of my favorites, and one of them is the short-nosed fruit bat. We love bats here. We know
We
that
do
bats
love
are
bats.
altruistic. So the fruit bats, short-nosed fruit bats, sorry, what they've found is that the females initiate this kind of grooming with the males before they go out for the night. So at the beginning of their day or night, because they're nocturnal, they kind of groom, and they think that the female is doing this to kind of apply her scent, her secretions, so the male has to remember what she smells like. And so it's maybe like when they come back, they can find each other again, which is just adorable.
Or it's like hugging your significant other before you go to work.
Yeah, I like to think that that's what they're doing. The honeybee also does it. So the honeybee engages in social grooming by cleaning body parts that can't be reached by themselves. So they have to get a little friend, to help clean the pollen off certain parts of their body. And it's so cute. And so not only is it helping them, because it helps them be clean, it helps the whole colony because there's more pollen, they can make more honey, all of that good stuff.
Do you know specifically what parts they can't reach?
It's just like, I've got a
I
scratch.
don't know, is this too specific?
I'm laughing because I'm imagining Jean trying really hard to imagine the anatomy of a bee.
I just want to know if it's the butt.
I think it's probably the butt.
Yeah, because they can't
Okay, I
really
figured.
like do crunches, right? Like they can't really bend in half.
No, they're little chubby bubbies. They can't do
Chubby
anything.
bubbies.
They're just like long. So we got happy bees, happy bats, happy monkeys. We also have, this one shocked me, but horses social groom. And I don't know why, I feel like horses, I don't know, they feel very antisocial to me. I don't know if that's my like mild fear of being killed by a horse. But apparently they also engage in social grooming to form pair bonds, and they help get, parasites and other things off places they can't reach. So again, probably the air.
Yeah, they definitely can't reach back there. Or maybe they can. I don't know. I've never looked.
Oh, and their neck. They can't reach their neck either, because, they've got a long neck.
Yeah. I think I've seen horses like nibbling at each other's necks, and I was like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah,
maybe
they're
killing
trying to help
bugs for
each
each
other.
other.
Also, don't feel bad about like fearing being killed by horses. I love animals, but horses are one of the few animals where I'm like, nah, not you.
Me too. I just get, like, we've spoken before in a previous episode about how people thought, like, black cats have satanic vibes. I feel like horses do.
Satanic vibes?
They seem like they're cunning. I don't trust them.
Sarah's like, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are actually just the horses. It's actually just the 4 horses.
Yeah.
No one sees it coming. It's just the horses.
That's the twist.
They're hiding in plain sight. Except for seahorses. They're the only horses that I really like. And zebras. I know zebras aren't horses, but they've got the same shape, but they don't have the same bad energy. You know?
Oh my God. I don't know. I don't remember where I heard this recently, but like zebras are basically evil horses. Like there's a reason you don't see people riding around on zebras, and it's because they're like fucking assholes. They will like murder your ass if you try to come near them. They're crazy.
I mean, like, couldn't that just be the same thing as like you have a pet cat but not a pet panther? Like, can't it just be that they weren't domesticated?
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know. Humans are pretty oppressive to like the animal kingdom. I feel like if zebras could have been domesticated at one point or another, it would have happened.
How cool would it look if you're like a general of an army and you ride in on a fucking zebra while the rest of your men are on just boring looking horses?
It would look cool, but it would probably last for like 5 seconds until like the zebra threw you off and like stomped and bit you to death. Those are the real satanic creatures, zebras.
Macaroni horses.
Yes, they totally are. With all their stripes, they think they're so fucking fancy. They don't want to let humans ride around on them. Too good for that.
Yeah, too posh. Absolutely macaroni.
Macaroni. I'm a macaroni horse. Well, that's it. That's my topic.
So, like, I actually wanted to bounce off of that. Like, Lindsay, you have cats, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do your cats, like, lick each other and reassure each other?
Yeah.
But then do they also... So my cats will do that, but then they'll get into fights midway through. Like, I'm like, oh, you guys are so sweet. Look at you bonding. And suddenly, like, all hell breaks loose.
Yes. I've noticed that. I only have 2 cats. And I've noticed that one will clean the other and not vice versa. It's almost like a submission thing.
Social hierarchy.
I think it's like, yeah, I think the cleaner is the one who is like putting forward like dominance. Like, I clean you because I'm higher up. I never really see it the other way around.
Interesting. Yeah,
Who's the cleaner out of Kiki and Casper?
Kiki will clean Casper, but sometimes I think it's because Casper just smells so bad. And Kiki's just like... Kiki's soft like a chinchilla. Like, she is so clean. And Casper's just like, I'm going to poop on the floor. Like, I don't even need to put it in the litter box. Like... She'll like, it's like funny. It's almost like, you know, when you tell a child to like do their chores and they do like the shittiest job possible. It's like, go dust that surface, and they barely touch down on the table, or, you know, like they make it look like they're doing
smeared around.
Yeah. They like pantomime the chore and not do it. That's Kiki cleaning Casper. Like, she will put her tongue out to clean his head and like barely touch the top of his fur and then run away. Like, okay, I tried. I did it. Okay, bye. I'm gonna go play video games.
I wonder if she does it for your benefit, to show you that she cares.
They are like true siblings. Like, they clearly love each other, but love to hate each other as well.
Yeah, that sounds like cats in general.
Yeah, kind of.
I also had at one point rats.
Ooh.
That are, by the way, one of the most underrated, beautiful, wonderful little
They're so
pets
cute.
ever. Yes, they're so good. Like, they get such a bad rep.
And their little hands.
Yes, they're such cute little hands.
It's so cute.
But they would groom.
I would definitely have a pet rat.
God, they're wonderful, but
And they are very clean.
Would they groom each other?
they groom each other every day, and it's like incessant, and they love it, and it's like it goes both ways. It's not like cats where it's like, you know, one's trying to assert dominance somehow and the other ones are like freaking out. Ratties are just good little social creatures.
Aww.
And I'm surprised you didn't mention ratties. Did you see them in your research?
I didn't. I'm sure they're probably in the list.
Yeah.
Because they are super sweet. They do get on with each other.
I love the level of like consideration that's like, hey, I know it's hard for you to reach that spot or clean that spot well. Let me help you. It's like that's like to me really physical evidence of compassion. Like I know what it feels like to try to clean the back of my neck and I can't. Like it's hard for me. So thank you for helping me.
Yeah.
Like collective altruism.
Yeah, it's so nice. Animals are way better than humans.
They totally are.
I know we're animals too, but we're like
We're the macaroni.
we're the soot left over.
We're the soot.
Yeah, the animals look at us like, you macaronis. Look at you with your clothing.
You're so full of yourselves that you can't even figure out how to groom each other.
You are so full of yourself. You can't even walk anymore. You're in a car. Lazy.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us, you guys. Let's give Jean a very, very warm welcome, either on Discord or on any social media that you ingest. Let's Go Ask Alice Pod on Twitter, Go Ask Alice Podcast on Instagram. And on our Twitter, there's a link tree to everything that we've ever done on the internet. So you can find an open invitation to our Discord. You can find other streaming platforms. If you don't love the one that you're using right now, you can find our Patreon and you can send us little personalized messages and we'll send you goods. I guess that's how Patreon works. And
that awkward pause was very reassuring.
Anyway, we love you guys so much, but most of all, we love Robin.
We love Robin.
Bye.
No, the pressure!